Hello, everyone. It is Joe. We have the power to feel good whenever we want, in any moment. It helps to give ourselves permission to feel good, to do so just because we want to, hmm, to just be who we are and feel good about it. Um, Sometimes we keep maybe old or heavy or dense energies inside ourselves. Um, I think the idea of density makes sense because we often respond to negative events that we don't want to experience again by trapping them inside ourselves so we can experience them again, typically through muscular contractions. We live in these animal bodies, in these primate bodies that hunch up when we feel threatened. Now, in the case of a physical attack, that might be a good strategy. Um, Sometimes we fight, sometimes we run away, sometimes we hunch up in a ball. But when we feel emotionally threatened, socially threatened, or just threatened by memories we haven't released, we'll hunch up. It feels so good to release them through yawning, which is almost an instinctive type of breath work, as well as through conscious breath work. I will let you all know I am very, very new to breath work. I'm just calling it that because that's the only word I have for it. I know that people study breath work and can be trained in this, but let's face it, we all breathe. Whether or not you want to make it a dedicated practice or just one of those little daily things you do, that's up to you. You can go to classes, you can schedule in breath work at different parts of your day, you can make it a big part of your life. Or you could make it a part of your life as one of those little things you love to do. There's a tear. I like tears. Tears let me know that I've released emotions into the physical world, out of my body. Not that the inside of my body isn't physical, but you know what I mean. I'm really getting things I don't want anymore right on out of myself. Yeah, there's some more. Good job, Joe. Well, that's another thing. Always compliment yourself on things, consciously and out loud. Well, now that I noticed that tear, I also noticed what we used to call sleep seeds. I don't know if anyone else calls them that, but I think that's what my family called them. Anyway, in these delightful times where I wake up and I allow myself to slowly process my dreams and become a little more and more awake, in those times, I really feel in my body, just feel the physical sensations of release, of challenges, of a new set or a new level or a new onion layer of old programming, old computer code in my mind and in my body that I can just let go of. So, sometimes it feels so good just to get to that place of release. I didn't even want to speak there for a minute because I had found it again. As a person who was always, almost 100% of the time, in the pain body, as Eckhart Tolle would say, or in a state of paranoia, or a state of fear, a state of expecting threat and danger, of feeling not good enough. I have some experience with this. That feeling not good enough thought is a really good tangent to help explore this before I get into the practicalities. In a physical threat, if we feel not strong enough to fight, and not strong enough, fast enough, energetic enough to run, then, well, all we can do is curl up in a ball and let things happen to us. And that is part of the emotional, what should I say, responses that happen to us. In a physical threat, it's wise to, what should I say, either fight or run or freeze and curl up. Make yourself small so the other creature, person, antagonist, so that person doesn't see us as a threat and might leave us alone. If you're confronted by a grizzly bear and you can't fight or run, making yourself non-threatening could help. I've heard of people doing that. I don't know that it always works. I've heard some other stories. So before you go into bear country, do your due diligence. I'm just sharing a nugget of information. Surely not everything you need to know about bears. But, for example, I know of an older woman who came out in her nightie and saw a bear on her porch and pulled her nightie out to the sides to make herself appear very large and screamed at the bear to be threatening, and it went away. Again, I don't know what exactly to recommend for dealing with bears, but it worked for her. So, you'll have to figure that out on your own. So, there's physical and emotional responses to threats. It's almost like our emotions build on the physical instincts that we have. We have certain programmed, what do you call them? I guess they're instincts or little scripts that we follow. If I feel physical pain, if I'm hurt or injured, I'll have the instinct to lash out, to fight back, to punch something, which doesn't make any sense when I stumble or, hurt myself accidentally and then want to punch something, but there's nothing there to punch, other than trees, that doesn't do any good. So it's just an instinct that we have, that we learn to use or not use. Our conscious mind reminds us that these scripts may be appropriate at some points, but not at others. We're not being attacked by creatures or other people. We're being attacked by our own emotions. We're being attacked by ourselves. So, that's more comfortable. So we attack ourselves and we respond much in the same way as we would from a physical attack. We may hunch over in fear from an emotional attack that comes from within, that comes from a memory that we haven't released. We can release memories altogether and just not remember them and block them out. Sometimes that works, sometimes that creates a weird kind of repression where the emotions, the importance that we've attached to those memories comes back, and that doesn't help. We need to release it all. We need to release the emotion, the perception of threat that we have on an event even after it's happened. Even when it's in the past, we still see it as a threat. This may be a way of our bodies trying to get us to learn from past events so they don't happen again. Traumatic experiences like losing a loved one, or, a limb, or whatever, some very, very important, intimate part of ourselves. Because loved ones, in a sense, are part of ourselves. It's one way to wrap words around what love is to say that love and intimacy means seeing ourselves in someone else, and seeing someone else as a part of us. Parents can have trouble with that, of course, when they see their children as part of them and not as separate creatures. What else? I'm pretty much the middle of the video right now. We're at halftime, so watch the band, get some popcorn, go hit the restroom, grab another drink, and settle in for the third quarter. But this is halftime. Rah, rah, rah. Sis, boom, ba. It's funny how these videos work. I have an idea that makes me hit that record button. I go on a bunch of tangents that come up as I start to talk about it. Because, when it's in my head and I'm thinking about it, it's different than when I start to speak it out into the world. That's one of the reasons I love talking, because we have a direction, just like a journey. We have a direction we're trying to go, we have a thing we're trying to say, but all these other things happen along the way that make it richer, that help us learn the thing we wanted to learn, and all kinds of other things too. Wow. So, trying to relax back into it. Using some of the breathing exercises that I want to show you at the end of this video. So, anywho, we respond to emotional threats like physical threats. We also store emotions in our body. So there's this constant back and forth of emotions in the mind and in the body. Memories in the mind trigger responses in the body. A memory of a past trauma that we dig up because for some reason we humans love to dig up traumas. We do that, and then we get to relive that terrible experience again. Not my first choice. I find myself doing it sometimes instinctively, automatically, and I work really hard to remind myself that, hey, we don't have to do that. We don't have to what's the word? We don't have to hold on. We don't have to learn a lesson from this past trauma. Trust me, you've learned enough lessons already. You could release it. So, I'm feeling in my body a release of my own fears and judgments and traumas. I'm trying to be a helpful teacher in these videos, but sometimes I just end up helping myself and I have to take a pause. But yeah, you know, it feels really good to get to a place of relaxation in your body, in your mind, in your emotions, in those tight places where you store your emotions in your body. Like I was trying to say a minute ago, there's a tight place in your body that might remind you of a trauma, that might trigger a memory of a trauma in your mind. A memory of a trauma in your mind might trigger some emotional attachments that you've created physically in your body. Like I say, they're almost always through tension. Muscular tension is usually the response to a threat. Fighting, running, curling up into a tight little ball. You don't want to curl up into a loose little ball. You want to tense all those muscles. For example, we'll tense up stomach muscles when we feel threatened. We will tense up back and shoulder muscles, tucking our head in the fetal position. I'm thinking of those tornado drills we had as kids, where we'd all go out into the hallway and tuck up into little balls. Protecting our heads and our necks with textbooks. Giving ourselves at least a little bit of protection against what might happen. And that's how fear works, not just on us, but in us. There's really a literal vicious cycle of threat. There's literally a vicious cycle of judgment, non-release. Releasing muscular tension is so closely tied to releasing emotional tension. It's almost literally the same thing. Thoughts and emotions and physical actions, physical habits all trigger each other back and forth. Also scripts and behavior patterns, trigger what should I say? Everything else. Behavior patterns like grabbing a cigarette every time you feel a certain discomfort. The way nicotine works in our mind, it becomes almost a part of that process. Maybe externalizing a process so we can take a look at it. I don't know. When I was younger, I smoked cigarettes because I wanted to see what addiction was all about. I wanted to see what people were talking about. I wanted to see what the big deal was. And over time, I learned, of course, first we can take something that smells and feels unpleasant and turn it into something that does, with the help of an addictive chemical. And of course, when I released my smoking habit, I started, a big part of the quitting process was just noticing again how, unpleasant it can smell, how nasty cigarette smoke really is. So, suffice to say, I'm trying to wrap up all my little tangents and get to the practical bit. And, it feels so good to stretch. I've been cycling, riding my bicycle just a lot. Just really, really cycling a lot. And been tapering down over the last couple days that I've been here in Athens, commuting a bit, but no all day cycling. I think I did at least 3 days of cycling in a row. Just that's what I got up in the morning and did all day. And, of course, take breaks to eat and shop and drink water and do all that stuff. But it is a lot of cycling, so it's really nice to feel that release. I'll use that as an analogy to wrap this up. Physical and emotional tension are so connected. They're really one and the same. I am releasing the tension, stretching and releasing the tension in my legs, after a lot of trauma. Now, of course, this trauma is making me stronger. I already feel stronger, I already have a greater capacity for strong, just pushing myself up those hills, and I have a capacity for emotionally handling that exertion and not stopping as quickly. I can handle a lot of things. There's physical and mental and emotional toughness. Like I say, everything's just connected in this sphere. So, I release the, trauma in my legs. I chose this trauma. I don't judge this trauma as anything other than wonderful. I'm very glad to be strong and to have the privilege of a healthy body. I can get around the world on my bicycle. I don't have to rely on other modes of transport. So I'm very grateful for this, physical trauma going on in my legs. I'm grateful because I know as I release it, as I release all of that stacked up tension and trauma, I can heal. Of course, when I'm riding the bike, when I'm climbing a hill, that's not time to heal. That's time to just put all my effort into getting up that hill, What I'm doing now is I'm releasing my energy, but I'm trying the technique that I want to show you. I'm allowing myself to release my attachment to all of the, stored up waste products and muscle cells and blah, blah, blah that's going on in my legs, and letting them regrow, letting them rest and be loose and flabby and not tight, strong, impressive muscles, but loose and relaxed and flabby muscles, letting them, like after a massage, just loosen up so they can heal. Did you know the opposite of fight and flight is feed and breed? I may have said it before, but, relaxation, enjoyment, and intimacy are all connected, and they're the opposite of being in fight and flight. Our world encourages us to be in a fight and flight place all the time. We can use that energy to not just, survive, but to do things like, I don't know, work hard at your job and get that promotion, or, freak out about something to, maybe try to push your kids to do something, or try to push this and that. I'm really trying to get over the self-judgment. When I lie down, I see my face wrinkling here. I'm really trying to accept my age. I have just turned 40 this week, and I see my body in the middle of life, and I see myself in my prime as both a young and an old person with both energy and wisdom. And I'm really excited about what will happen in the next, couple decades of my life, in the third quarter of my life, as you will, of really, really using everything I've learned. In the fullness and strength and vigor that I still have. Some people my age have let that go, but there's a lot of people out there like me who are really strong and vibrant people as we move through life. Some of that's physical fitness, some of that's diet, some of that is happiness and releasing stress, whatever stress is. Stress might be when we tense a muscle and then that pulls against something else and that place is under stress. I don't know. But it all seems to manifest as muscular tension. And releasing it is really important. Like I said, with my legs, I chose to traumatize my legs. I know it will make them stronger. They're already starting to get that tree trunk look that they had on my very first bicycle trip. On that trip, I cycled many days in a row. I wasn't working very much at that time, so I didn't have to take very many days off to, sit in a cafe and do my writing. Nowadays I work more, so it's a different deal. But yeah, it's really splendid to see, physical evidence of the emotional growth and maturity that I've found on this trip, to look at my legs or to feel a new muscle popping out in them, the muscles that keep me stable as I ride from side to side, the ones that keep me up on the bike when I'm tired, the ones that help me, kind of wiggle the bike back and forth from side to side. Not just the ones that push the pedals, but the ones that keep everything balanced, are really starting to pop out and be strong. So it's wonderful to see that physical evidence. So I'm saying this all as an analogy, as a metaphor, to say this. I'm proud of these results of the trauma that I've chosen. If you've chosen a childhood trauma as a starting point for your life, if you've chosen a more recent trauma as a challenge in your life, okay? Release it, allow it to heal, Be proud of the strength you've gained from these things. That's something we rarely recognize. We're trying to release traumas because they feel bad, right? I want to stretch out my muscles the right way and then release them, consciously think about releasing those muscles so I can let go of that muscular pain and let my legs heal up even stronger and, go use them on the road. But we rarely think of the strength that emotional pain gives us. I'm very proud of the strength that physical pain from cycling up steep hills with lots of luggage on my bike, I'm very proud of that pain, what it gives me. I'm a guy, I've learned to be proud of, large muscles and strength. I've accepted that part of my cultural gender identity, whether you're male or female or somewhere in between, you can choose to, buy into that and celebrate your physical evidence of that strength and dedication, or you could not. You could have a different kind of body, whatever you want. I've been writing a song about that recently, about the roles we play, and speaking to my beloveds, speaking to the people with whom I'm most intimate about being whoever they want to be, trying on whatever they want to try in the world, and still being the one I love, you know, at least the one I love tonight. And how do I say it? Having the freedom to choose who they are with me, to choose who they are in all other parts of their lives, to simply try on all the different roles and personas and just be who they are in all the different parts of life, to play and try on all the different people that they can be. And when they're with me, try on the ways that make us happy, and eventually get to that place where we don't have to try it all, where we're just ourselves together. So that's a big tangent, but that song has been going through my head, and I'll share it more as it comes into being. Anyway, tension, release, we get stronger. The emotional traumas that you're going through are not going to destroy you. They're going to make you stronger. You could, of course, use them as an excuse to destroy yourself if you want to live a more limited life, or if you want to exit life. That's your choice. You could do whatever you want with your life, but remember that there's a lot of better options, like, hey, these things make us so much stronger. I'm thinking of a traumatic relationship I had, in my 30s. That was very enjoyable, very intense, very intimate, and very destructive. And, well, I became much, much stronger from that. I learned how to have the strength to be that attached, not attached. I have the strength to let go when I find myself getting attached in a needy, clingy, codependent kind of way. I now have the strength to let go of that. Even better is the strength to be with people and not be attached. That's the best way. Of course, just walking away from a situation when you find yourself getting caught up in it, attached in it, yeah, that's healthy. Walking away is a good first step. Another step in maturity is to stay. Let people know you might walk away if they, cross your boundaries, if they act certain ways, but also help them understand how to stay, how to make things work. What else can I say? There's a feeling in here that I have to get out before I do the practical bit. Talking like this is certainly a form of release for me. And it does make me stronger, I know that. I guess going back to that relationship analogy, being caught in a relationship that I found it hard to let go of gave me the strength to let go of other people now. I found someone so sensitive and attractive and vibrant that I didn't want to let go. I wanted to be with them. And, of course, I put up with a bunch of stuff that I shouldn't have. Well, I shouldn't say shouldn't. Oh no, the double negative. Don't say don't. Never say never. But the point is, I got stronger. I can release people that I very much would like to be with, if it isn't right. And that doesn't have to mean it isn't right forever, but it isn't right now. And, you know, walking away, drawing boundaries, like I said, is just a first step. It's really more important to let people know you have boundaries, to demonstrate that in little ways, like walk away and come back the next day, that kind of thing. Let people know that you want to be with them, you know, if they behave properly. And you will help them, and you understand they're not perfect, but you will, work with them and, help them learn what your boundaries are. And if they cross them, more than once, just, keep walking away and have that strength to know that you'll find the next person, Doesn't have to be this person. It's not like they're a magical being that you found after searching. They're just an experience, a manifestation you created because you're ready to have it. And then when you're ready to have it again, you'll have it again. And it'll be even better, and you'll be strong enough to get more out of it this time. So, emotional traumas, like this traumatic relationship that, I used to step back from relationships, that I chose to process alone. This traumatic relationship led to an immense strength where I can handle being very attracted to people and still walking away. I can connect deeply with people and still draw boundaries because I've done it in a big and painful way that I don't want to do it again, but I've done it. I have the strength to walk away from beautiful, vibrant, young, attractive, spiritually astounding people. I can do it. And if I can walk away from them, that means I can stay. I have the strength to stay because I know I'm safe to do it. I know I can walk away if I need to. Now, of course, it's about staying the right way. It's about drawing boundaries, but not drawing them too hard. About working with people to create something. So that's my path, and maybe you'll hear more about that later. Gosh, I had a lot to get out today. Anyway, I want to talk about the practicalities, the emotional practicalities of getting stuff out. First of all, don't expect it all to come out all at once. I was listening to Sonia Sophia, who does wonderful EFT tapping sessions, both in person and online. And Sonia was talking about, okay, don't expect to solve all the problems in the universe or in your universe from this one session. You can have some remarkable experiences with EFT and breathwork and all kinds of stuff. But, you know what? You might just get one onion layer peeled off. You might not feel a reduction in pain, which of course is what many of us are going for. Maybe you'll get a glimpse of a good feeling that you can focus on and find it again and again. Maybe it's just doing something for yourself and making an effort without getting a result that's going to be most valuable. Maybe it's caring for yourself with the faith it'll pay off in a week or two or whenever, and just starting today, or maintaining a practice. Maybe that's what matters, and it'll lead to something, as you go layer through layer, through pain until it isn't there anymore. I don't know your story. What I am saying is, whatever your story is perfect, and you should go with it. Oh no, I'm tangled in the cords. It's shaky cam. So, still feeling that healing and muscular tension releasing. I think it's lactic acid, among other things, going on in my legs. It feels good. I'm redefining this pain as a good pain, right? I say this pain is a good pain. It leads to healing. I'm releasing it. And I know it's going to be turned into more strength. Do that with your emotional pain. Just do it. So, breathe in. I'm going to try the practical portion now. We'll see what happens. I may get on another tangent. I can't make any promises. But breathe in. And exhale. A few days ago, in my time, who knows how quickly you're listening to these videos, but a few days ago, I found that I could breathe in and feel this like exploration, this like water seeping into cracks in the rock, this, I don't know, like veins of silver going through rock. I had all these wonderful kind of light and bright experiences on inhaling. And I taught myself to release the breath, but not the good feelings. To keep them and then have more good feelings with the next breath. Adding on to the good feelings, more and more and more and more with each breath. Letting those feelings mingle with the new ones every time and multiply and have an upward spiral, an exponential curve of good feelings. For exhaling, which we associate with release, for exhales, I've learned just a few days later, just in time for another video, and not at all on purpose, just as part of this exploration, I've discovered, hey, exhales are great for releasing what we don't want. We can explore and create what we do want, but we also want to let go of some stuff that's stayed with us on our story and we've learned from, and, you know, it's made us stronger, but we want it out of us, you know? I feel pain in my legs of muscular exertion, but I don't want to feel that the next time I climb up a big hill. I want to release it. So, do that on your exhales. Do that as as keeping the lesson, keeping the strength, focusing on that conversion of your emotional energy from trauma and pain into strength, into experience, into wisdom, into knowing exactly how to handle that situation the next time it comes up. Even better, knowing how to handle other situations, not exactly the same, but the same kind of situation when they come up. Because let's face it, there's a million, billion, zillion different ways that people can cross our boundaries in life. And we can learn how to protect ourselves from common boundary crossings. But there's so many different kinds. Maybe we could learn to kindly and gently, and in the moment, deal with all the boundary crossings that happen, all the things we don't like, when they pop up, to respond to them with thoughtfulness, without reacting, without negativity towards the person or whatever who triggered it, you know, just to respond to everything with like, here's a boundary crossing. I'm going to deal with this somehow. Let's figure that out, you know? So, yeah, it's exciting to think that we don't have to experience every one of the, you know, infinite number of ways people can, you know, mess with us, come across our soft boundaries and then we feel hurt. No, don't react when someone finds a new way to cross your boundaries. Sure, put up appropriate boundaries and walls, put gates in your walls, but also have walls, you know, in common places where you're vulnerable. But at the same point, no wall can keep people out. The US wall will not keep people out of Mexico. The Berlin Wall didn't keep people from crossing from east to west Berlin and back and forth, and, you know, Great Wall of China didn't keep people from crossing in and out of those lands. It slowed them down, you know, and the wall was largest in certain places that were vulnerable and needed to be protected. But more than anything, it was about making it difficult um, for people, bandits, to run off with plunder. Um, so don't get rigid with your walls and expect them to be your one solution. But have them, put gates in them, defend them, see them as just one of the many ways you care for yourself. And release the memories and the emotional pain that have given you your strength. Release the muscular tension after exercising and know that your cells, your entire body is feeding those cells, taking away waste and bringing them new resources to multiply, become stronger, and just in so many ways become just flexible and powerful. Not rigid and powerful, just flexible and powerful, like muscles are, you know? They can be rigid when you tense them, but they can also be loose. They're flexible, they can be used for many different things. You know, they adapt as we challenge them. So see everything in that frame. Breathe in and find, as you're breathing in, a muscular tension. For me, this is often in my chest. You can focus on emotional tensions, you can focus on physical tensions, like I could do a whole breathing session on my legs, feeling the release of that, you know, iron, tense, clenched muscle thing I was so proud of, and letting them relax and become flabby so they could heal and become even stronger. Yeah, that could be healthy, and, you know, releasing emotional trauma as thought, you know, consciously is important. But for now, find something easy to work with. For me, it's these, what yogis call chest openers. It's breathing into my rib cage and feeling the unwanted legacy of years of hunching over and years of what we call bad posture, which is really just being afraid of other people and not asserting ourselves, not putting our shoulders back and asserting ourselves, of putting on a facade of being weak because we feel that's the only way to get through life, of appearing non-threatening. If you're like that, you'll be very surprised to learn how powerful you are and how people will respond to you when you do assert yourself. Call their bluff, you know? You'll see that people won't attack you when you assert what's yours. If you dominate other people more than they want to be dominated, if you push people more than they want to be pushed, if you challenge people too much, lead people too much, all that kind of stuff. If you do that kind of stuff, you're going to have trouble. People will push back eventually. If you ask too much from them, if you take too much from them, often this has to do with misunderstandings. People usually can work quite well together if they kind of negotiate it and feel it out over time. But, you know, if you're the kind of person who's not good at drawing boundaries, go ahead and draw them. People will have a problem with it sometimes. You may draw boundaries in a way that doesn't lead to healthy relationships, that just makes relationships end, you know? That's okay. The next person is out there, and you will connect better with them, and you will make fewer mistakes. For those of us who have trouble drawing boundaries, who don't like to assert ourselves out of fear. You know, we need to just screw it up as many times as it takes, you know. We need to make mistakes and let that be okay. And connect with people and let that be a hopeful thing. And if it doesn't work out, fine. Just another lesson, you know. You mastered level 1, the being strong enough to walk away, and try it again and be confident and draw boundaries and assert yourself, and then you screwed it up. But you screwed it up at a higher level than you did last time. I'm talking to myself as much as I'm talking to you guys here. Every time we become stronger, we learn to use that strength. And we have to wield it properly. A sword can cut your enemies, but it can cut yourself. It could even cut your friend who's fighting next to you on your same side. Learn to, through mistakes, bump into your friend and realize, oops, I just bumped into my ally and I cut his arm and now he has to heal that up and he's not so happy with me, but I'll learn, you know? Don't hurt yourself with your strength. You know, don't hurt other people, but don't be mad at yourself when you do. We're learning to be strong. The Bible says we're children of God. Well, we're learning to be, what do you call it? Gods, deities, creators. We're learning to be the infinite creatures that we already are. We're just relearning it for fun, trying on limitations to realize we don't have them, and expanding the definition of God by us. That's what children are, right? Expansion. Not just a continuation, but new things. Parents know that children challenge their preconceived notions and teach them things all the time. I don't have kids, but I've taught them and worked with kids and parents quite a bit as a piano teacher, so I know a little bit about that. Gosh, so many tangents today. This is a long, long video. Really glad that I did it and released thought tension this way. But as you breathe in, allow yourself to yawn. Breathe into your tensions. Don't force yourself to yawn, but let it happen when it does. Breathe into those tensions, like I said, that are heart openers, that are rib cage openers. Explore your heart chakra or your soul chakra, the one between your heart and throat that's kind of near the top of your breastbone. Feel all of the different bones in your rib cage starting to flex in different directions. Feel the muscles and cartilage that tie all that stuff together moving and expanding with your breath. Take large breaths. Don't take shallow breaths. The large breaths will force your chest to expand. It's weightlifting and kind of yoga stretching from the inside. As the muscles of your diaphragm pull down, push your guts out of the way and pull down, your chest will naturally expand. I was taught to breathe from my diaphragm as a musician. I don't know that I fully understood what people meant by that. They were maybe trying to get chest breathers to breathe more deeply. But for me, I know I also need to breathe from my chest. Yes. Let my diaphragm push my guts out of the way. Let my stomach muscles be loose so I can just let that breath go right on down into my abdomen, but in my chest, Allow that chest to expand outward in all directions. If I only breathe through my chest like I was just doing, yeah, it's not enough to get a full breath. And it's not enough to get that diaphragm engaged, so I really challenge my breath. The diaphragm challenges the chest to open up just a little bit wider. As you work with your breathing, your chest expansion will grow. Just as your diaphragm can move many inches, I think yogis say that certain organs that are pushed out of the way by the diaphragm can move maybe even over a foot. I can't remember the exact number, but it was astounding. That being said, your diaphragm challenges your chest to open. And as you breathe in, find that sore spot on the inside. Find that deep inner sore spot. I found mine. Today it's on the right side of my chest, not on my heart, but on what I call the shadow, or the child, the moon. If the heart is the moon on the left side, then on the sun there's a fearful, gentle, fragile child space. A little child in their room in the moonlight. Almost a haunted house kind of vibe. On the right side, opposite from the chest of the heart that is full of this bright solar chest energy, there's a lunar energy on the right side. For me, you go ahead and use whatever stories you like, but on the right side, there isn't a heart there. And even though our heart is relatively close to the center of our chest, you can still feel it on the left side. So really work with that lunar side, with that child, with that empty space, and the emotions, personas, archetypes that hide there. And let them out. Assert yourself by breathing fully through your chest. At the same time that your diaphragm moves down, and allow those intuitive, magical parts of yourself to come forward and assert themselves as big, swaggering chest energy, Combine that, what we like to call masculine energy, with a feminine energy. Combine that masculine, solar, expansive, swaggering, thrusting forward kind of energy with a feminine, protective, sometimes hiding, sometimes nurturing, sometimes healing, intuiting type of energies. As someone who's identified as a male, it's really healthy for me to let these emotive and empathic energies come through. They're a big part of me. I have a lot of these energies in myself, and also a lot of masculine energy. I have a lot of both. What I like to do with breathing, as I said before, is to breathe in. And this is why this video has taken so long, because it's challenging to touch these places. Inside of your body with your breath, not outside places that you touch with massage, or even some of the places you touch with exercise. These are the places you touch when you're out of breath exercising, and you're feeling that physical and emotional pain, because really digging into your breath and expanding almost always happens in moments of deep exertion, typically through cardio exercise, sometimes through weightlifting and strength exercises, or maybe gymnastics, but that's almost a different flavor of exertion. This daring yourself to expand your breath and chest capacity exertion. I find a lot in cardio, but I can have it anytime I breathe deeply. I feel these muscular tightness places. They can happen in my throat. They can happen in my sternum, to the right or left sides of my chest and lungs, maybe even along my spine as I learn to open up my spine and my shoulders to facilitate deeper breathing. Because that's the price. When you hunch over, you don't get this habit of good deep breathing. So go for it. Really get into it. Now, breathe in and find that spot. Like I said, for me, I'm feeling it in that lunar place on the right side of my chest. Also a little bit at the very bottom, underneath my floating ribs. As I've been breathing through this video, I've been feeling pain and breathing into those places in my throat, all throughout my chest cavity, even in my sinuses, and learning to let go of all these different tensions. So do that. Find a tension, breathe in, find a physical tension and release it. Know that you'll breathe past it the next time. And know that these physical tensions are attached to emotional tensions. If you have a real hard time getting into an emotional tension, if it doesn't release just from conscious thought, do it a couple times. Accept the amount of progress you're having right now is perfect. If you have trouble releasing a complete emotional, physical tension, find it, be aware of it through the expanding awareness of inhale. As I inhale, I'm engaging all kinds of things and muscles and expanding and stretching and exerting things I normally don't. And then release and feel good. Engage with all that stuff and then just release. So, as you do that, as you go through all that stuff, just take a release. Breathe in, identify physical, emotional tension and release. Find a physical spot in your body that resonates with an emotional tension and release it. Doesn't have to be a big deal. It can go away right away. Or maybe it's something you work with a few times and then it'll go away, at least enough that you find something else that seems like a bigger deal to work with. You know. Find those spots you may be working with for a while, or you have been working with for a while. For me, chest and back and shoulders and throat, there's a legacy of constriction here that I just let go of piece by piece. And it's so funny. As I just released a piece of that, I felt it in my lowest chakras, in my sex organs, the creative chakra, the orange one, and the red root chakra beneath that. As we have releases, even partial releases, in one part of our body, we feel them in other parts of our body that really needed that release. So don't look at partial releases as less than perfect. They are very perfect. They are partial because as much as we need the thing we're going for, the chest expansion, the the release of tension in my throat that I really want to let go of. Well, you know what? There's something even better. That's why we didn't succeed in air quotes. There's something we needed even more. There's something we needed in a different part of our body, mind, emotions. There's something we needed even more. I can get self-conscious about a wrinkle or a varicose vein or whatever I see in the video. I can become self-conscious by that. And I know I could create a more vibrant face. The more that I smile, the healthier my face will look. The more that I manifest abundance, I could, save up and get contacts. I really want to get contacts so I don't have the glasses line, the tan line around my face. I really want to get contacts and allow my allow my face to look one color. And I've actually created that money. It's sitting there. I manifested it slowly through saving up. That's one way to manifest. I'm not saying you can't do it all at once, but I chose to do it slowly. Ever since I bought my glasses back where was I? Somewhere in Florida. I think it was Zephyr Hills. Probably January. And since then I said, well, I don't prefer glasses, but I'm going to save up and get contacts, and well, I have. Good for me. Doesn't take that long. And that's one of the wonderful things about being in the middle part of life, is that we know things don't take that long. If I experience the magical big mountaintop experiences I want to hit this year or next year, doesn't matter. To a person of 40 years, achieving a wondrous goal at 41 or 42 that I've been working towards for a while, that I've made my way towards, and I'm already most of the way there, who cares? I know I'm there. I know I'm reaping many, many rewards and living an amazing life right now. And I'm, well up that mountain to even cooler and more amazing things. It doesn't matter when I get there. I know I will. I know I'm headed towards it. I know I've made massive progress and have huge momentum towards it. Stopping that progress would be so much harder than just staying at it at this point. And of course, when you get to the top of the mountain, you just see that next mountain in the distance that's even higher that you want to climb, and then you use all that emotional momentum to go there. But yeah, like I said, I can work on manifesting a pretty face, I could work on manifesting those things that appeal to my vanity. But you know what? There are many other things that are more important to me. There are many other things that matter more. Like I said, I can breathe in and work on constricted areas, chest, neck, shoulders, classic hunching over, fear posture kind of things that I want to deal with. And when I have a partial success, that is because I'm using that energy to heal somewhere else. And like I said, I've actually used, in this hour we've spent together, I've used breath energy not just to heal my chest area and the areas that I was going for. I've used it to heal, sexual healing. We all like sex. It's a really fun thing. And I've used my breath work inadvertently, those partial successes, to very successfully put some healing energy into an area of my life I really want to expand and set free. So, hey, that's really awesome. Whatever amount of success you have today, when measured against your goal, is partial, but every breath is perfect. If you take very short, shallow breaths and have trouble even finding the courage emotionally to challenge yourself physically with a breath, fine. That means that you're doing exactly the work you need to do right now in this moment, and you always are. Every moment waking or sleeping. Time doesn't exist. You're just doing it all the time. That doesn't exist. In every moment, which is now, and the now moment lasts forever, you know, however you wrap words around it, you are exactly where you want to be, exactly where the perfect place is for you to be. You couldn't imagine a better place to be, and a better release to have, and a better story to enjoy. All of your traumas give you amazing strength in those areas and related areas. Physical, mental, emotional traumas, whatever they are, probably a combination of all three. Just have that stuff. Feel that stuff. Be excited and enjoy who you are right now, and know, oh my gosh, this is going into such a good place. Know that I am learning to release and enjoy and release tension, find that strength that I've earned, let all of it go. Because what remains of a trauma is you. That person, the way you remember that interaction with that person, the way you've told yourself that story again and again, that person is an extension of you. And now that you've rolled them around in your memory for so many years, they really are you. Who they actually are, what that experience meant to them, was not what you perceived of it in the minute, and is certainly not what you remember of it now. Look into the science of memories and realize how malleable they are. As we remember them in pain, they become more painful. As we remember them in love, they become more loving. We change our memories. They're plastic. Plastic means change in this context. And well, use it. I've taken all of these people, just in the last day or two, I've taken all of these people that I've had conflicts with, and I felt I wanted to have a different conflict. I wish I had hurt them more, or asserted myself more, or done whatever. And I look at those conflicts and I say, you know, I release them. And I feel that strength, and I feel energy throughout my body. And more than that, on a mental level, I can say, hey, these people aren't them anymore. These people that I've kept in my memory as part of this story or that story, they aren't them anymore. They are me. My memory of that destructive and inspiring relationship I had years ago, that memory, well, it's me. Those childhood memories, that's you. Those people who hurt you are you. They're an extension of you. They're an extension of self, and the way you remember them is definitely you. It doesn't make it your fault in a sense, like you caused it, so blame the victim, it's your fault that it happened. No, that's not how it works. Draw clear boundaries. Don't let these things happen again. Learn to avoid the types of people and situations that put you at risk. It's not about blaming the victim. It's about something else. It's about, on a cosmic level, you chose this because you knew you could handle it and it would make you even stronger. It's like going in and doing 3 reps with that really heavy weight in the gym to really tear up your muscles and make them stronger. On a cosmic level, that's what it is. On a legal level, on a drawing boundaries with people level, yeah, protect yourself. Don't let people hurt you, and if they do, find a way to stop them from hurting other people. Find a way to prevent them from, continuing those behaviors, Help them stop, whether that's calling the police or just talking to them and saying, hey, don't do this again. Depends on the severity of what's going on, but there's always this distinction between, not a distinction, we need to draw a distinction between blaming the victim and just choosing a life that makes you stronger. On the level of 3D reality, on this illusion of permanence, people can hurt each other, people can damage each other, people can steal from each other, they can traumatize each other, and we are creating a world where that happens less and less. We're creating a world where everybody has everything they need, and that's not just money, it's the relationship and love that they need, so they don't act out to get it. You know, all that stuff. We're learning, you know, as a species. Um, have patience with the species. The species is evolving, you know, on its time frame, which is very different than these individual time frames. Assert yourself, draw your boundaries in your moment, right away, in your lifetime, and just laugh and watch humanity figure itself out over the next few millennia, you know? Just get a glimpse of a little photograph of what this step in our evolution as a species, you know, as societies and as a planet, you know. Just take a look at that stuff and watch it happening and, you know, take a lead in it happening, but, you know, don't let it affect you at all. That's something beautiful that's happening on its own scale. You're a part of it. As an infinite child of an infinite God, however you want to frame it, yeah, you're a part of that and you're creating that. And in your own experience right now, create it for yourself. Don't wait for everybody else to figure it out for you. Figure it out for yourself. Deepen it and deepen it and deepen it and share it with people. Create around you people, you know, who are wonderful and, you know, create amazing things in their lives. Create that around you because let's face it, there may be billions of people on the planet, but how many of them have you met? How many of them are in that bubble around you on a regular basis? Not very many. You know, if you surrounded yourself with a bubble of a few hundred amazing people, you know, that you run into in the different parts of your life, in your physical life or in your social media life or whatever, that's a lot of amazing things coming your way. You don't need a lot of people to feel great. You know, you don't need a lot of people to form a community. And yeah, go out there and do it. So, this has been an amazing and very long video. I'm looking forward to having some of these videos transcribed and pulling the tangents out of the other stuff. It's going to take some work. It's going to take some money and some work, but I'm going to get some of these transcribed so I can work with them in print and pull out the different subjects. Some of these tangents will go into other piles, you know, of other topics to be combined with other videos. Some of them will be pulled out as practical exercises. For example, the practical exercise today of the inhaling and exhaling, it came out in fits and starts, and to be honest, you know, there were a lot of tangents in between, and I'm not sure I even got to all of it, but to wrap up, yeah, breathe in, feel those tense places, and let them go. Tell yourself consciously, I release this, I release you, whatever you have to say in thoughts and words to let something go. And let that go just a tiny bit. Again, I'm amazed. After I release something in my upper torso, maybe 5-10 seconds later, I feel this release down through my lower abdomen and even down into my sexual chakra. I really feel this amazing energy, you know? And that's your body saying, we don't have to put all our energy into tensing up and preparing for a fight. It's not fight, flight, or freeze. It's feed, breed, or these. I don't know what the third one is, but you get the idea. Digestion and intimacy, reproduction, that happens at a lower level, literally in our body. Our digestive, creative, sexual, and um, releasing, uh, digestive system excreting organs. Those are all down at the very bottom, right, of our torso. And we tighten all that stuff up, partially to protect those organs, partially just to take physical, biological, chemical energy away from them so we can put it all into fighting. The problem is we all feel stressed like we're fighting all the time and we're not. We feel like we're on the edge of survival all the time and we're not. We live in an abundant world with a whole lot of privilege and riches, and we feel that we can't survive. We feel, ironically, in a very rich country, that we don't have what we need to survive. I'm not telling you don't be rich. Go and get all the money and all the stuff that you want. What I'm saying is feeling that you can't, feeling that you don't have enough, blocks you up from getting it. Not just on a law of attraction level, but on a physical level. If you put all of your energy that's in your body into fight and flight, and you're not fighting anybody, you're not running away from anybody, you're not curling up in a ball, you're just feeling that kind of lingering feeling, it just burns energy. It makes you feel gross. Use it. Run when you need to run, fight when you need to fight, roll up at a little ball when you need to roll up at a little ball. When it actually needs to happen for survival. At all other times, don't do it. And be amazed by how much energy you have in your body, mind, and emotions to do amazing things. So breathe in. Find a spot that's tight, either physically or emotionally. And that distinction is pretty vague to begin with. Release it as a yawn, as tears, as an exhale, and learn to release. Know that you are keeping your strength. You are keeping the lessons you have earned. You're not learning a lesson in a negative point. You have earned strength. You have learned your lesson, but be very careful. Don't hold on to the lesson. If you're in second grade, don't carry around a first grade textbook. If you're a junior, don't act like a freshman. Remember that the teachers lie to you on purpose. One of my science teachers told us that he was lying to us about a lot of things because we couldn't understand them yet. That he was simplifying things to the point of deceit or confusion because he wanted to get across some basic concepts to us. And then later we would discover that those things weren't true. They might be 90% true, but there's a whole other angle to them that we don't know about yet. And that's how learning works. You learn a lesson, you earn a lesson, you earn your strength, and then you let it go. Because there's a better lesson. You learn to assert yourself, and then you do it too much. Then you learn how to assert yourself without overdoing it and hurting people. Great. You might have needed, there's no might, you needed to assert yourself too much. You needed to do it with all the full force of yourself. And you hurt somebody. Fine. You assert yourself next time and you won't hurt somebody as much. I've done it to people. People have done it to me. It's a natural part of life. When you learn to assert yourself for the first time or in a new area of your life, you'll probably do it too much. You probably wait too long and store up too much energy and then let it all out at once and it was too much for that person. You didn't have to go that far. Fine. It's part of growth. You don't want to hurt people. When you do, you realize that, had some positive effects of, I asserted myself, but people don't mess with me, but maybe if I didn't come across as strong, people would trust me more. Maybe if I was a little more gentle, but still asserted myself, well, that would be awesome, right? what if we could make it a little better? So like I said, come at what you're doing now with everything you have and live it fully, and it's perfect. But just remember, hey, at some point, maybe, just maybe, you'll learn to mitigate it with wisdom. So keep those lessons that you've earned, but be willing to let go of them. Let go of your strain and trauma that created that learning, but be willing to let that go. Let go of the things that gave you the lesson. Let go of the people and those stories you tell yourself. Remember, they're just you. See them not as strong adversaries, but strong parts of you, because at this point you've projected so much on them that that's what they are anyway. And remember that the lessons you learn are perfect for right now, but you're going to learn more. You're going to get better and better and better at all the things you want to learn. So what you're learning, even the partial things, are perfect for now. And just go with it. Just celebrate the perfection of right now, even in the midst of the pain you feel, the thing you released that came back, all that. It'll come back, and then you release it again. And then someday you won't have to. That day could be today. That day could be long from now. Who cares? Time doesn't matter. What matters is walking that path towards better and better feelings all the time. And when you feel yourself having a better time, feeling better all the time, every day you feel better, every moment you feel better, you're learning to create better feelings in yourself. Well, once you do that, doesn't matter. You know you're on the path. You know you're headed towards what you want with such great momentum. You put everything you have, you go all in with all of your energy on your path. It doesn't matter when you get there. It doesn't matter how long it takes, because you're never going to give up. You're going to get there. You're going to do whatever it takes, however long it takes. Go all in with all the energy you have and no more. Don't burn any extra energy and overwhelm yourself. Just put in the perfect amount of effort that you know is 100%. Don't put in 110%. You'll burn yourself out pretty fast. Just put in what you know is your perfect effort and go all in towards the things you love the most. And you will get them. You will find them. You'll experience them. You'll have everything you dreamed of, and you'll get to the top of that mountain and see all the other mountains that you want to climb next. It never ends. So, that is my learning and my teaching for today. I've learned a whole lot from this. I hope you have too. As I said, I'm working on getting transcriptions and pulling out the practical bits of these and some of the best tangents to categorize, maybe turn into blog posts, or maybe turn into I don't know, lessons, practical exercises. I'm not sure. Anyway, at the very least, I plan to put transcriptions in their raw form on joeneely.net, so you can find them there. I'll put something on the homepage so you can find them. At some point, I'll create a page specifically for transcriptions and give you better directions. So if you're listening to this video for the first time, and there's like 100 more videos in the queue, understand that the website is a work in progress. But yeah, we'll see what happens. At the very least, know that they're coming, know that they're out there. Go to the website for all kinds of resources. There's some episode information on there as well as other stuff. So, oh, yes, and joeneely.net/community, which you can find through the homepage or by typing in all that stuff. Lets you know all the different ways to connect with me. But let's face it, you're a grown-up. You know how to Google my name. And you can find me on all the things. So that's it. Love you all. Have a great day. Bye bye.